Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to byte 9 of our Python crime game. If you are a member of the channel and have early access, you will find this Jupyter note already on Google Drive, so go and get it from there. What we're going to do today is two things. We're going to solve for byte 8, it was very easy, so there's no need to do a separate video, and then we're going to do byte 9, which is going to be matplotlib in a line chart. Let's get started. So to solve for byte 8, what I did was actually very simple. You copy all the code from byte 7, and then I added these two print statements with some text. Let's get back to our case, focus on the crime. And then I wrapped all the code that we had from byte 8 and put it into a function called crimesMap, and then I just executed it. Very simple. So for byte 9, what we're going to do is as follows. We are going to work more with pandas. So we're going to read from tables, change data types, aggregate tables, and then we're going to do quite some work with matplotlib to create a line chart that looks very special. So you know how to tinker with matplotlib. And this is how it looks. I did a change. So I changed my mind. I don't want the user to start digging into tables at this early in the game. So our if conditions, I've put it aside. We will be using it, but not for now. And this is how it looks now. So the introduction is the same. Do you accept the challenge? Yes. Here, what is your name? You write the name. And instead of getting the question for the tables, it's saying like this. Welcome to Crime Labs. Right rules, let's get you initiated. And to be able to solve this model, let me help you familiarize with the data, and then it prints the map, and then it says the number of crimes has been stable for the past 2 years, and then it prints the line chart. Okay, and this is the part that we're going to do now on byte 9. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is to connect to the database and grab the data. The initial libraries that we're going to use are SQLittle, Pandas, NumPy, matplotlib. We will need to add a little bit more libraries, but I like them as we go along so you see where they are used. So if we execute these, we get connection to the database and it returns the tables that are available. It's actually quite neat when we're calling them so we know what they are called. The next thing that we're going to do is to read the crime scene report table. And you know how to do that. We've been doing it all along. So it's the read SQL query, the PDs, this is a pandas function. And it returns the table. So what we want to do now is we were going to create a line chart that is aggregated by year month. So it's year month and then the number of crimes. As you can see, that the table that we have here, it's not aggregated. It has every crime for every date. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new column that has year month, and then we're going to use that column to aggregate on it. But before we do that, to add year month column, we need to have data state. And at the moment, it will give you the column types of your table. And you can see that date is stored as a number, and that's not going to work. So we need to change date to date to be able to work with it. So let's go back to original state, and then here we're going to do that. We're going to convert to date. Okay, so how do we convert date to datetime? There is a pandas function called pandas to datetime, and it has an argument, integer, float, string, datetime, whatever it is, and it converts it to date. It is as simple as that, actually. So you have some of the examples here. Here is taking the entire data frame, but you can actually have just one column, and it will convert that. So this is how the code would look for us. We go in here, paste it, and we say convert date to date. If we go here and do d types again, we can see that it converted it to date. So that's wonderful. So here it is, convert int to datetime. Cool. Let's go back here. The next thing that we want to do is to create a year-month column. Okay, so to get this new year-month column, you use the datetime string time function. Not super clear in the documentation what it does. I actually Googled it, but this is how it looks. Let me show you. So if you want to create a new column name, you know that you first, we're going to call it year month, new column name. You give it the name, month, and then you said, what do you want to create it from? In our case, we want to create it from our date column. And because date is now a datetime, we can use this strf time. And then you can specify how do you want it to be converted to. I'm going to say year month. Okay. And if we run this, we will get the year month. And then you can see now that this is all the stuff for January, and it has January month. So we're basically removing the date from the year month. So what we need to do now is we need to aggregate the data, so count the number of crime types by year month, right? So we do it with group by. We're going to give it a new table name, virtual table still, and we're going to do group by, if you remember. So the function group by, the documentation, it doesn't really account for this specific case. It's like very, very short. I mean, group by, you probably can do like a huge tutorial on it. So we're on our own. What we need to do is group by, and then this is year month. This is the column that we want to group by. And then we want to do a count on the type column. So for our type column, we want to do the count. It's good to do this step by step so we start to see how it looks. And this is exactly what we wanted, right? So we have the year month, and then it's counting. You can see here, we're going to get rid of the last entry because it's going to skew our data just, for one data point. But one thing that we want to do is to have this as a data frame. So we're going to do reset index. And we don't want this to be called type. We want this to be called crimes. And then you can sort it, or you can do anything that you like. I think for us, it's enough that we stop here. So now we have the table that we need to plot using matplotlib. So we have year month, we have the aggregated number of counts. It's time to get started with matplotlib. Okay, so matplotlib, the first part, if you remember from byte 8, we create the container for all the stuff, and then we define the axis. The axis defined is, in this case, just one, is this one, the AX. And if you execute this, you just get the frame, right? Nothing more. And because we have no data, matplotlib assumes that it's 0 to 1, both on X and Y axis. Fine. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to plot a line chart. And the line chart matplotlib. So here we have it. So axis.plot, it plots Y versus X as lines and or markers. So that's the function for a line chart. And the syntax is very easy, X, Y, and then you have the possibility to add markers. It says here, so if you don't add anything, it's just a line chart. If you add BO, it means that it's blue with a circle marker, and so on and so forth. All the markers are defined down below here. Okay, so here you have everything, the line styles and all that type of stuff. So let's do the plotting. We go, and on the axis that we defined up here, we're going to use it, and we're going to do axplot. And we need to have the X value and then the Y value, right? So the X value for us is going to be the year month. And the year month is, let me do, so we can actually see. So the year month is this column. So the X-axis is year month. So we do df2 dot year month. The Y-axis is the crimes, right? So df crimes. And we don't need to plot anything else. df2, sorry. There is no crimes in df. Oh. Sorry, I think I should change like that. So what you can see now is that it plots the line chart. As you can see that we have this annoying one value, want to get rid of it. So this is how you get rid of the last value of pandas. I should do a video on slicing and dicing the pandas table. But what you do is you do this df2 and then -1, it goes at the bottom and then gets rid of it. So if we execute this and execute that, you see that the last point disappears. So that's good. Okay, so that doesn't look close to what I had. So what do we need to do more? There are quite a few things actually. The first thing that the next thing that we're going to do now is we're going to plot the values for each year month. And to annotate charts on matplotlib, you need to loop. You need to go through each point on the chart by X and Y, and then say, okay, in this coordinate X and this coordinate Y, put this value. So you need to manually annotate everything. That's the way any program works, but here you have to literally do it, basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to loop for X and Y in. You remember, zip takes two values from two lists and iterate them one by one in order. So we're going to get the X value is the year month, right? So this is df2 year month. The Y value is the crimes. So this is df2.crimes. And then I'm going to print it so you can see what this is doing. So we're going to print X and Y. X and Y. So as you can see, it's giving us the coordinates for each point. So this is 2017-01, which is 86, that one. Right? And then this is this, that is that. This is this, this is that. Okay, so we need to fit this, and then we're going to use the crimes number that we want to put in. You can put anything that you like, but obviously in this case we want to put the crime numbers. So what we're going to do is use annotate function in matplotlib. So this is how it looks. First, you put the text that you want annotated. Then you tell where in the X and Y coordinates you want to put it. And then you say where you want to put the location of the text. And then you have arrows, and then you have all kinds of stuff that you can add. It's super powerful. So we're going to do that. We're going to go in here and we say AX annotate. And then we're going to first remember it's the text. The text that we want to put is the number of crimes, which is represented by Y. So we're going to annotate Y. And then we want to have the coordinates XY is XY here, right? And then you need to tell where you want to put the text. So the function or the way to put it is XY text to the location of the annotation. Where do you want to put here or here or here or here or where, right? And that is going to be also XY For now, we will change it a little bit. And then you say the font size, which we want to have, I don't know, 10. I think I have 10, yeah. And let's stop for now. Let's put it like that. And as you can see, it's doing that. So it's going through each X and Y coordinate and it's putting the Y value, the crimes value in there. If you put the X value, it will put it. So you decide what to put, right? So we will go back, Y value. And then you can actually move this a little bit. You cannot move the X coordinate. So where in here the annotation goes, because it's a date. If you want to actually move it, you have to convert it to a number. And I don't want to complicate this video too much. But the Y is a number, so you can actually move these by, I don't know, let's exaggerate. So you can actually see, so you can say, move it up a ton so it gets out of the way. You can say, move it up by 1. And you see that the placement is a little bit better. Cool. Well, what else do we want to see? As you remember, I had these boxes around. And I think they are quite neat, especially when things get a little bit cramped like here. So to write those boxes around the annotations, there is the Beatbox here, the Beatbox functionality within the text. You can put Beatboxes in quite many places. And then you can see here that you have the face color. This is white, so this could be like blue or red or any color that you like. You have this style. You could have like circles or arrows or this dented stuff. So there are all types of configurations that you can do. Here we have some examples. So what we're going to do is like this. Let me copy so you don't see me typing so much. So here we have the Beatbox takes a dictionary. We have put the face color white, the edge color black. It has to be round with a little bit of padding and a little bit of transparency. So let me show you what this does. Yeah, we need another one. So if you change that to red, you see what it does? So one easy way to understand how these things work is to actually change the default values when to copy something from the internet, whatever it could be. You can make it circle, you can make it round. This is the padding again. If you make the padding super big, you see what it does, right? So you decide how this looks, and this is transparency. So we can see a little bit behind, but not too much. So if I exaggerate the transparency, you see that it's almost like there's no box, right? Okay, so now we have the boxes. We can remove this print because we already understand how this works. And what else are we going to do? We want to, have just these and that. The spines are called in matplotlib. So we want to have the X and Y spine, but not the other ones. So to change that, this is the code that you use. You say for a spine to the top and the right, set visibility to false. Quite simple, right? What else we're going to do? We're going to put the label. We're going to put the label there, and then we're going to format this a little bit better. So to set the Y level, you do on the axis that we define, AX, set Y label. And then this is auto crimes. And you see appearing it there. We are going to change the formatting of this, but let's first set the title now that we're on label. So AX dot, and I think is, obviously I don't remember, set title. And here we're going to set crimes in Curbal Crime Labs database between 2017 2018. Obviously you can make this dynamic if you want to, like that. But if you put it like that only, you see that it gets quite cramped in to these. So you probably want to have a little bigger distance between the elements. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to, for the y-axis, for these, we're going to put, I think it was 1.4. So it was 0 and 1, 0 and 1. So we're going to make it a little bit higher. Maybe this is too high. I don't know. And then we're going to, I think that's enough, but I think that is too high. So let's put like 0.2. That's better. Cool. Okay, another thing that we want to do, you see that this starts like, instead of start here, start there, and same at the end. You can actually set the limits of your charts, both on the X and Y axis. So we are going to do that with this line of code. So what this says is set the Y limit. This is the minimum of year month, and so start on the minimum of year month and end in the maximum of year month. So if we execute this, you see that now it goes correctly. Okay, so what else are we going to do? We're going to change the Y limit to, as you can see, it doesn't start with 0. We definitely wanted to start with 0. So we're going to do ax dot set Y lim 0 to the max, the F2 crimes max. And now you see that it elevates a little bit. It makes more sense to have it like this. Another thing that we're going to do is we're going to change the background color of these. And that is as much as and that is set face color. And we're going to set it to the same as the background color, like that, just one, right? And then we're going to change the color of the line to red. Red. Cool. Okay, nice. Now, I don't like how everything is so cramped on the y-axis, on the x-axis, you can see. So we're going to change that. And to do it, you use these. This is to format the X tick label. So you use x-axis set major formatting, and then m dates. If you run this, it's going to give you an error unless we imported it already. Oh, we didn't. We don't need to import it? That's weird. Okay, cool. So yeah. You see that it's given us January everywhere. It's because we haven't imported the mdates module from matplotlib. So let's do that. We're gonna go up here. It's called dot dates as mdates, and then run it. Oh, wait. These we need to, when you convert and you don't tell the format, you're going to run into trouble. So you need to add these format y month date to it and then rerun everything. Let's do it. Okay, now we have dates. Okay, cool. We have it. And now it is returning, let's see, the types. Yeah, year month is not being converted to daytime. We need to do that. So we need to do the exact same thing that we did here, but with year month. So let me grab it. So, and now if we do d types, is daytime, cool, head. So if I run this, now I recognize it as a date and it plots accordingly. Cool, okay. the last thing I want to do is to do the annotations. We're not going to do the shading back because it's a bit complex and it's a bit unnecessary complex for now, as you haven't used matplotlib so much yet. But I will share my code so you will be able to see what I did. So what we want to do is the annotation. So we want to find the minimum and the maximum value and say, hey, this is the minimum and this is the maximum. And to find the minimum value of our data, so we're also going to write, if you remember, we have it here. We have the date, and then we have least crimes occur and most crimes occurred. So we need to grab the date when a crime occurred, where the least crimes occurred, and we need to find the date where the highest crimes occurred. So, so this is how it's done. I'm going to do it in steps so you can see. So this is the highest date where the highest crimes, or the date where the highest crimes occur. So df2, this is where we've done this before. We filter a data set by a value, and you do it like this, df2. You say now which column you want to filter to, you want to filter by, which is crimes. And then you equal to, in this case, is the max value of the crime. So we need to calculate that. Crimes max. Okay. And if we just run this, it tells us that on 2018 January, it was 93 crimes, which is the highest value. We want to get just the year-month value, not the entire data frame. So we're going to ask to get just the year-month. So if we want to have just the value, you can actually write values. But as you can see, it converts us into date time, and we don't want that. We actually want to have this as a date that then we're going to format as a year month. So to format it as a date, here we have the date where the highest crimes occurred. So now that we know how to create it, I'm going to copy the code for everything else because you don't need to see me writing, and I'm going to explain it. So these give us the date for highest crimes, and this is the date for the lowest crime. So it's exactly the same, but instead of max is min, and this is the highest crimes, and this is the lowest crimes. Right? So now we have the values that we need. What we need to do is annotate them. We know now how to annotate, right? So remember, annotate. What do you want to annotate? X and Y coordinates for the annotation, X and Y coordinates for the text, and then we want to have other stuff. I'm going to show you. So this is what you need to do to create the text. So this is the text that we created. Number of crimes. This is to do a new line. Occur on. This is the date in year month. You remember we're changing the format, and then where x y. So this is the x coordinates is the date, and the y coordinates is the crime. You need to again find where, but just for the highest date and the highest crime. Then this is the offset of the text. This is where you want to put it, here or there or there or there, or whatever you want it. And this is to tell that you want to offset the text. So you wanted to move it out. And this is the size. As you remember, I have an arrow pointing at where the value actually is. And you do that with the following code. This one. Arrow props, that creates an arrow, And then this is the arrow styles. There are a ton of arrow styles that you can have. You can check the documentation. And then the connection style is this curved, but you can have a ton different. And the radius for the curved, you can also change that. So this is super cool. And then for the next one, you have the same. So what you are changing the highs with the lowest. Yeah. So that's how it looks. So this is for today, everything for today. What you will have to do now is to put everything together. And it might seem a trivial thing to do, but it's not. You will have to think about a little bit what you're doing. And I'm not going to show that part. You need to create it yourself. You will see that when you execute the two matplotlib charts at the same time, that they get executed at the same time. And you don't want that. You want to have print and then chart, print and chart. So that part you will have to figure out yourself. So put everything together so you can actually reproduce what we create here. I inserted some sleep into the text. So you can see here that, you see it's waiting a little bit, it's waiting a little bit, it's waiting a little bit. So I want you to do that too. It's very, very easy. Just Google it and you will find it. And then here it comes the text, and then it comes the graph, right? So that will be the job for byte 9. I will show you how to do that on byte 10. So see you then.